a meeting of the Cultural Resources Commission to order. Aloha and Happy New Year, everyone. So the virtual meeting of the Cultural Resources Commission will now come to order. Today is Wednesday, January 13, 10:05 a.m. Based on the governor's and mayor's emergency proclamations regarding COVID-19, our meetings will be online until further notice. And this is to maintain social distancing and to prevent the spread of the virus. As noted on the published agenda, the public is able to view and listen to this meeting. A link to the YouTube live streaming is provided on the county website. The video recording will remain on the YouTube channel for those who are not able to watch it live. All reports and surveys reviewed during this hearing are available on the county website. Also, as noted on the agenda, public participation is limited to written testimony. Any written testimony received by the planning department for items on this agenda have been forwarded to the commissioners. There are no addendum and/or supplemental agenda items. Commissioners, please be reminded that only one person may speak at a time, and raise your hand to be recognized if you have a question or a comment. For those of you who are listening to us by telephone, and that's Nicole, just excuse yourself at any time to make comment. At this time, I'd like to introduce the commissioners. Please say present when you are called. Alex Akau, I notice he's not on the video. Teresa Dunham, I think she'll be in later. And she graciously accepted a 90-day extension of her appointment. Commissioner Kilohana Hirano.
Present.
Commissioner Natalie Kurashima.
Present.
Commissioner Nicole Louis. Hi, Nicole. She's there. She's on the phone. And Commissioner Scott Mahoney. And I'm Chairperson Jerry Bell. Quorum to hold this meeting has been established. And the following staff are also in attendance. I don't know if John is available, and John Mukai is the Deputy Corporation Counsel and Attorney for the Commission.
Yeah, he's
Eileen,
not in
Program
today.
Manager Jeff Darrow. Alex Roy, Planner, and Commission Secretary Kim Tanaka. Also assisting the Commission and staff today is the Director Secretary Rochelle Lay. With that, let's proceed to the first item on today's agenda. Item 1 is review, deliberation, and action regarding the draft nomination of the Honokaa Catholic Properties, Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church and Cemetery to the State Register of Historic Places and a nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. The property is located on 2 parcels, TMK 345018011 at 45520 Lehua Street and TMK 345007005 Honokaa, Hamakua, Hawaiʻi. It appears that no public testimony came in for this agenda item. Staff, is anyone present to provide a presentation on this agenda item?
Yep, I'm going to be giving a short presentation to the commission.
All right, thank you, Alex. So the floor is yours. You ready, Alex?
Yeah, I just need to figure out how to share the screen here.
Oh, okay.
Can everybody see that presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Oops. I skipped right to the end. So you saw the end. Okay, here we go. Okay, today we are talking about the draft nomination to the State and Federal Register of Historic Places for the Honokaa Catholic Properties, Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church and Cemetery. Let's see if I can. Okay, here we go. There's a couple location shots by now. We all know where Honokaa town is, but of course I put in a couple maps there. You can see the arrows pointing to the two different properties in Honokaa town. The church property and the cemetery property are on separate TMKs. Here's kind of a zoomed in on the TMK map. On the left-hand side, you see the cemetery, St. George's Cemetery, and the Our Lady of Lourdes property, which includes the church, the rectory, and then another cemetery. On the bottom right, I've zoomed into the St. George's Cemetery property, and then I've dashed out the Our Lady of Lourdes property across the street there. So just to kind of give you an idea of where those properties are. So, the Catholic properties has a pretty long history. The St. George's Church and Cemetery were first constructed in 1879. By 1911, the Immaculate Conception Church and Our Ladies of Lourdes Cemetery was constructed, and then you see following that the rectory 1911, 1915. It was updated in 1918, sanctuary 1926, and then there was some, the Catholic Church acquired title to the land in 1944, and then there was a former nuns convent constructed against the parish hall. The rest of those are buildings that are not related to the register. These were, the nuns convent, the theater, and then the rectory entrance, talking about the railing. So, but what we can take from this is that, one, it started the construction of this property in 1879, so quite a long time ago. And what you see today really was built right up until the 1960s, but after that it's just been maintained. So here's an interesting shot from 1880 of the church, and you can see the cemetery, the St. George's Church off on the far right. I got a red arrow pointing to that. And then the cemetery, it's kind of hard to make out, is in the foreground, the St. George's Cemetery. So this church, that was the original church, and then the new one was built, by 1911. But this kind of marks where that original cemetery was and still is today. But kind of a neat shot from 1880 of Honokaa town. Here's the Immaculate Conception Sanctuary, built around 1911. The picture the date was rough, so they believe this is about a 1911 photograph. And then you can see the rectory building on the right-hand side. So take note of the structure of the sanctuary, and you'll see that that's carried forward. So here is 1950 kind of oblique aerial. On the top left-hand corner, you see the St. George's Cemetery area, the sanctuary on the left-hand building, rectory, and then the education building. So again, that sanctuary and rectory, you already saw pictures of that from 1911. Here, 1926 is that sanctuary building on the left, and then again, the photo from 1950 of that same building, somewhat updated, but you see it still holds that same character. The 1950 photograph is a town event where the church would hold, events for the town. They'd set up booths and things like that, and you can kind of see. So the whole town turned out for these kind of events. So a long-standing meeting area for this region. Here it is in 2018. So you can see again, so it still retains that same character. Of course, colors have changed, things like that, but that design is still present almost 100 years later. Here's an outline of the properties, kind of a current Google map. You can see the Our Lady of Lourdes Cemetery takes up the bulk of that Catholic Church properties on the left. you've got the church, you've got the rectory, the community building, and then take note across the street, that smaller square is the St. George's Cemetery area. There's an access path getting to that, which is that little tail that you see on the TMK. Here's a shot of the two cemeteries. On the left is the current shot of a current photo of the Our Lady of Lourdes Cemetery. And on the right is some headstones from St. George's Cemetery. So much older, a little more rundown. And then here again, you see St. George's Cemetery. This is 2015 photo. Prior to some of the restoration, I guess they did at the cemetery. Some restoration work. On the left, you see a small mausoleum or whatever you would call it, but you can see how it's a little overgrown, a little more rough than the Our Lady of Lourdes Cemetery, but still in its original location over 100 years later. Here's an interior shot of the Sanctuary Church building. This is 1962. So I put this up just to show you the difference between 1960 and then about 50 years later. Here we are, current, very blue interior. But remember, the register of properties, the intent of the historic register is really the exterior. I mean, the interior does help to bolster the nomination, but the idea is that that register property looks very similar to what it did when it was first constructed early on, and we were able to see that that's the case. So I'll flip back to that just to show you guys again. So this is really the big structure that's, the one that's been there so we see 1926, 1950, and then carried forward to today. So very similar, not many changes. Most of the changes came to the outbuilding, parking, things like that. Safety improvements, of course. You see the ramp, things like that. So at this time, I'd ask the commissioner to deliberate, and we can either, the commission can vote to send a favorable recommendation to forward this nomination or send an unfavorable recommendation, both to the mayor and actually to the SHPD. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Alex. Commissioners, any questions for staff regarding this item? If not, I'm going to ask a motion for action to send either a favorable recommendation to the mayor and to the State Historic Preservation Office. Would anyone like to entertain a motion?
Commissioner Hirano moves to forward a favorable recommendation to the mayor for the Catholic properties in Honokaa.
All right, can I have a second, please? Thank you. So it has been moved by Commissioner Hirano and seconded by Commissioner Mahoney to send a favorable recommendation to the mayor and to the state for nomination to the State Register of Historic Places. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion is carried. Thank you. So Alex, you folks will send a letter to the mayor, yeah?
Yeah, I'll do a letter to SHPD and the SHPO and to the mayor. Yep.
All right.
And you'll have to sign those. Kim will organize signatures for you.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Thank you very much. All right. We're moving on to item 2 on the agenda, and that is review and deliberation on the cultural impact assessment for the proposed Kauai Harbor Terminal Expansion Project. Property is located on TMK's 3 of them, 61003, 023, 038, and 044 Kauai Harbor, South Kohala, Hawaii. And it appears that there was no public testimony that came in for this agenda item. Staff, would you like to do the presentation on this item 2, please?
Yep, I'll put that up right now. Okay, so I know there was a little bit of confusion because some of you were looking for the CIA, but this is actually the CIA process. So you've been asked to be part of the cultural impact assessment for the Kauai Harbor Terminal Expansion Project. So to that end, they are looking for guidance, input, information related to the project area's general history, if you know of any knowledge of cultural sites, traditional gathering practices, cultural association of the project area, any referrals of Kapuna or Kama'aina who may share their cultural knowledge of the region, and then any general cultural concerns the community may have. So most of you should know, but if not, here's Kauai Harbor up in Kohala. You can see the location map there, and then I zoom in. This is the harbor itself. Note the project area is that small area outlined in red. So that is the entire project area. It does not encompass the whole harbor or water or anything like that. All of that work will be on land in that existing area. And it's essentially to expand operations for the cement mixing and I guess bring in some new technology. But again, that project area is just the area outlined in red. So really what they're looking for is, as I said, I'll flip back to that screen, you know, any general history that the commission may have, or knowledge or association. So the idea would that we draft up any concerns, if you have any, and then present them to Cultural Surveys Hawaii to be part of the CIA. And so I'll kind of defer to the commission. And if you want, I can take this down, or if you'd like, I can leave this screen up, Chair.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
I have a question. The added 2,000 ton silo.
I know somebody's speaking, but you're breaking up.
Oh, jeez. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Kurt.
sorry. I was just wondering if that added 2,000 ton silo that they want to build is that going to be on that site in red right now? Because that site is softly. How are you planning on adding something loose on a crowded already?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Commissioner Mahoney.
Scott, you were
I'm having
breaking
trouble
up.
hearing you.
Oh man.
Yeah, maybe you can maybe turn your video off, and that might improve your bandwidth a little bit, and just keep your microphone on. Try that.
Okay, how's this, Alex? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just wondering if that added 2,000 ton silo is going to be built in the red area.
Yes, all of the work will be within that project area, as I outlined on that map. So, yep, all work will be within that area.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Alex, it doesn't say so in their letter. I'm looking at it now because it's just a general aloha to us, but they're asking, you know, for knowledge of cultural sites, traditional gathering. It would surely help me if I know what other parties they sent this letter to. Because
Okay.
they're asking for a lot of information, you know, referral of kupuna, Kama'aina, etc.
Yeah.
And if I know, for instance, that they sent it to to Keikilani, who's a cultural practitioner, etc., then it would help me, not to include her again and to look for other referrals.
Yeah, I mean, I could find out for sure. I can give them a call, but I would say you put down whomever, and because they probably sent out, a lot of requests to different agencies. Typically, it's Native Hawaiian organizations, UH. They send it out, of course, to the CRC. So I would say that if you have somebody, get it in, even if they've seen it before, then they will make sure to address that person. So one thing I thought, and I should have maybe put in the agenda, is that you guys can provide me that information. If you want to discuss here, you can do that. But if you'd also like to provide me that information, or Kim, you can send that to us, and I can include it. But I understand it's the project area is on the harbor, but it would be nice if there are people who may have some knowledge of that area. But again, it's not the impact is all going to be within that harbor facility, so nothing outside of that. But I can find out who they sent it to, and but I would say let's go ahead and make our own list and send it out if that's the case.
Okay, we can do that. We can, and it'll probably be better to do that instead of trying to get a list of names and organizations, etc. at this meeting. It'd probably be better if we can get that information to you. So can we leave it at that, Alex?
Yeah, we'll say that the commissioners will provide anything that we showed on the list, general history, contacts, to staff, and staff will compile that and send it off to Cultural Surveys Hawaii as the commissions. And of course, Jerry, you'll review before it's, you help to sign it,
Sure.
So you'll get to review the letter.
Sure.
So yeah, if you guys can do that within the next week or so, that would be really helpful.
Great, because I was going to give a timeline for that instead of waiting until the next meeting. So if we can get that information to Kim and or Alex via email, that would be good, and then he can compile that information and send off a letter. So I don't think at this point we need a motion for that. We're just doing it.
Yeah. Let's say by the 22nd, so I'll give you a little over a week. So that's Friday the 22nd. If you can do that by then, I can get the letter right out. And then, yeah, that'll work. Perfect.
Okay. So commissioners, if you have any other individuals or organizations that you feel that this information should be sent out to, then if you can get that information to Alex by the 22nd, that would be good.
My suggestion, I'll give it verbally now, would be because of the proximity to the national park at Pu'ukohola to contact those individuals, and then especially the ones that do work on the community engagement side, maybe they could recommend the cultural surveys, the Kama'aina and the Kupuna. That might be good contact area.
Right, and the Hawaiian Homes Kailapa is located in that area, so it'd be good. Well, I'll get that information to you, Alex.
Yeah, if you guys can email either to Jerry or send it to me so I can put it together. That'll be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to move on to item number 3, and that is review and deliberation regarding the Federal Highway Administration and State Department of Transportation Saddle Road Extension Project consultation for the Archaeological Inventory Survey Report and Section 106 review. The project location is from Māmalahua Highway to Queen Ka'ahumanu Highway, South Kohala and North Kona, Hawaii. TMKs, and there's 3 of them, 68001, 005, 006, 067, and 68002, 013, 015, and 71003, 001. And we did receive public testimony for this agenda item from Ms. Deborah Chang. We also received a copy of a letter from the superintendent of the Alakahakai National Historical Trail to the Federal Highways Administration, and both items were forwarded to the commissioners' staff. I don't believe there's anyone there to make a presentation on this project, so I'm going to ask you for any comments.
Oh, I got a presentation.
Or a presentation, all right.
Yep, I got a little bit, just to kind of give you guys, I mean, this is all information that was in, but I'll go ahead and throw it up there just so we can, everybody be on the same page. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay, so Federal Highway Administration, and in conjunction with the State Department of Transportation, is looking to initiate the Saddle Road Extension Project. This is part of the Archaeological Inventory Survey and, of course, the Section 106 consultation. Here is a topo map of the proposed alignment. You can see it starts at the existing highway and then extends down into Kona. The yellow is the project area. There's been some expanded survey area that you can note on the left-hand side or the eastern side of the project area. And then the TMKs that it goes through, you can see a very large tracts of land. These are archaeological sites that have been kind of called out already within that corridor, and they each have a number. And then there's a couple insets I'll show you just to kind of, these are more of a reference if you need them. Here's on the eastern side entrance, so you can see the project area in yellow. Take note of the gray. Those are areas that have already been bulldozed as part of previous development. And then the different sites, Ahu sites, quarry sites, cave sites, excavation sites, those are all shown by the numbers and various colors there on the map. And then here is just a kind of a zoomed in portion of the western side of that extension. And again, there's you can see the Belt Road, there's some Ahu cave sites, and then the project area again is outlined in yellow. Oops. So I will take these up, but I can put them back up. I'm going to take these down right now, but I'll put them back up if the commission needs them for the discussion. So at this time, it's really just comments, concerns that we want to forward to the Department of Transportation, feds, and state on any concerns or questions you may have or anything. So this kind of it's up to you guys on what you want to send over to
them. It's such a big project. I was hoping Teresa would be at the meeting because then she would give us, I wanted to hear more insight on those archaeological features and reference to the Alakahakai National Historical Trails letter regarding their recommendations. And I think one of the biggest one is the realignment of that road. But she's not at the meeting today. And Alex, I noticed that, is this on a 45-day, is the clock ticking on comments for this project?
No, I made contact with them and told them that I would be bringing it before the CRC here in January, and they're waiting for our comments. So I would say that we probably should, before the next meeting, get something to them if we can. Now I can call them and see if we have more time. This is in the beginning, earliest stages of this project, for
right.
Sure. So there will be other opportunities, but it's good to get in early.
And
if there are concerns.
Yeah, and actually I went on the Federal Highways website, and the funding they don't have funding yet for this project. The funding has not yet been approved for the project.
Yeah, and that's what I was told. This is very early in the planning process, and so they're starting with, which is smart, the 106 in preparation for hopefully getting the funding for the project. But yeah, you're right. Right now, they actually don't have the money to do the project.
Right. So commissioners, this is surely a large project, and I'm going to try to, our archaeologist, Teresa, is not at this meeting. I was going to ask her for her comments, and her comments would truly be valid, and that we could put in a letter to the Federal Highways. Any comments from the commission?
Hi, this is Kinohana Hirano. I was
Hi,
just
Kino.
wondering, yeah, they mentioned in one of the documents that 55 archaeological sites were recorded in the process, 31 sites within the project area. When they looked at the actual alignment of the road, was that the two that they lay out, is that the most feasible? Is that why they went that route? Or are there other options that may impact less sites? Or, I mean, I know it would create doing a survey of a much larger works area and then increase the amount of cost that would be related to that. But 31 sites within a project area, and then that still seems to be a lot of and then to your point about what the actual sites are, like the Ahu. So separate thought for me is sometimes Ahu, what they mark as Ahu are not necessarily historic. Lots of times people see those things and they pile rocks because they think that's the cool thing to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And like in some of our national parks, the Ahu are actually trail markers. And if that's what these are, then it has a slightly different historic significance as compared to just marking, or not just marking trails or marking actual other sites, like something is under it, or all the different things that could be connected to it. I noticed like it's very brief in their description when they say historic area survey marker or pre-contact marker, and then the recommendation is no further work for the mitigation.
That's true.
I think just my question goes back to, is that the reason for that particular alignment? Is it the shortest alignment, or did they do larger work and that would be the least amount of sites impacted? That would be a question that I would have.
Or the most cost-effective.
Right.
Alignment.
I have a comment kind of related to that question as well. So I appreciated in Deborah Chang's letter that accompanied our materials, she included figure S2 from the EIS that had alternative routes. And it doesn't have the cultural sites on this map, but she suggests that there is way less impact, and it probably is a feasibility reason that they chose the alignment they're showing us. But what's interesting about they did choose to show us was it does straddle, it crosses the Moku boundary, the Moku boundaries multiple times. So because of that, I do think that there is like a significant number of Ahu or possibly boundary markers that are impacted by that alignment. And she's suggesting to choose these other alignments that will instead match up with the Waikoloa Road and then not end up right in that corridor where it's impacting all those sites at the end when it connects to Queen K. So I just think that her suggestion and Honokaa had a similar suggestion to reroute that section to Waikoloa Road instead.
Right, I was going to mention that Honokaa had a similar suggestion in their letter. Any other comments? Scott? Nicole? If not, Alex, what do you suggest we do at this point? Because we do, from the conversation, it seems to me that we do have concerns about the alignment of the highway and, the cultural sites to be impacted.
Well, I'd say we got the first question is, are there other options that will impact less sites?
Right.
Is that okay? Provide the CRC reasons for the current alignment. Describe that. And is this the least site impact? And then from Natalie, noting that these cross a number of MOCU boundaries, so is it possible to alter the alignment and reroute it to Waikoloa Road or some other condition? So I think we could put together a letter requesting information and write over to them, and we can have them answer those questions. Now, the thing is, do we want to wait for Teresa, or do we want to include Teresa's information, or Alakahakai was already submitted as separate, not just to CRC, but was submitted to the DOT for the project, so they have that comment.
Right.
But yeah, we should put together a letter based on these concerns you have. You guys just outlined for sure. I'm just not sure how to integrate Teresa's because she's not here. That's all.
Yeah, if it would be possible, Alex, to contact her just to find out. She must have comments on this project. I'm sure she does.
Yeah, I'll make contact with her, and I'll put something together based on the questions that the commission had here at the meeting, and then we can include some of Teresa's comments, and then Jerry, you can review that letter before we send it out.
Right. So is it possible to send the draft out to the commission? Just in case.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah,
so,
they would have.
So I'll put it together. I'll talk to Teresa, put the letter together, send it out to the commissioners for review.
Yeah.
And then you can sign and we can send it out.
Oh, okay. Sounds great, Alex. Thank you.
So yeah, if the commissioners have any other questions they want DOT to answer, now's the time.
Okay. So if commissioners, if anything comes to mind after the meeting, just fire off an email to Alex and or Kim with regard to the project. Okay. So again, I don't think we need a motion to do that. We've instructed staff to put together a letter with our comments, with the commission's comments, and draft sent out to all the commission, and then a final letter to the DOT.
Yep, agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need to motion.
Yeah, sounds good. Moving right along here. We are at the administrative matters section of this agenda, approval of the minutes. Commissioners, we now have approval of the minutes of the November 10, 2020 meeting. And at this time, I'd like to have a motion to accept, please.
I move to accept the minutes of the November meeting.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second. I second.
Is that you, Natalie?
Sorry. Excuse me.
Okay. All right. It was moved by Commissioner Hirano and seconded by Commissioner Kurashima that the minutes of the November 10, 2020 meeting be approved as circulated. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Good job on the minutes, Kim, as always. All right. Announcements. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, February 10 at 10 o'clock a.m. Any questions or comments from the commissioners or from staff?
I just want to let the commission know that we have, well, tentatively a new director, Zendo Kern. He was going to try to attend today to introduce himself to the commission, but he was unable to. So we might we may see him next meeting to kind of come in and introduce himself. So that's it.
That would be nice. He hasn't been approved by the council yet, has he?
No, today
Yeah.
he still has confirmation, final confirmation. Today's a ethics board hearing or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, this concludes the items on this agenda. I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Kilohana,
I move that we adjourn.
and a second, please. Scott.
Okay.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
All right, so meeting is adjourned. Aloha. I will see you all in February on the 10th.
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
Commissioners. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Uh-huh.